The discovery in the frost. The ice tunnels of Europa weren't meant for human exploration. Marcus Chen knew this as he pressed his gloved hand against the crystalline wall, feeling the subtle vibrations of the moon's vast subsurface ocean beneath. At 15, he was probably the youngest person to ever break into the restricted research zone, but the signal he detected was too compelling to ignore. His suit's heads-up display flickered with warning indicators about the increasing pressure as he descended deeper into the network of frozen corridors. The colonial authorities would have his family's residence permit revoked if they caught him here, but the strange energy signature he detected matched nothing in any database he could access, and Marcus had accessed quite a few he wasn't supposed to. Just another 100 meters, he whispered to himself, watching the signal strength increase on his modified scanner. The device was cobbled together from salvaged mining equipment and his mother's old atmospheric analyzer. She would have been proud of his ingenuity if she were still alive to see it. The tunnel opened into a vast chamber, its walls perfectly smooth as if carved by something other than natural processes. Marcus's breath caught in his throat. In the center of the chamber, suspended in a column of clear ice, was a sword unlike anything he'd ever seen. Its blade appeared to be made of shifting darkness and light, like a slice of space itself had been captured and forged into a weapon. "Impossible," he muttered, approaching carefully. His scanner was going haywire, registering energy patterns that shouldn't exist in normal space-time. The sword seemed to respond to his presence, the patterns within its blade swirling more actively as he drew near. A crack echoed through the chamber. Marcus froze, but it wasn't security forces or rescue teams. The ice around the sword was splitting, fracturing in geometric patterns that spread outward like a growing crystal. He should run. Every survival instinct screamed at him to flee, but his feet carried him forward instead. The final layer of ice shattered just as he reached out. His hand closed around the hilt, and the universe changed. "You are not what we expected," a voice resonated directly in his mind. "But perhaps that is for the best." Marcus tried to let go of the sword, but his fingers wouldn't respond. Energy coursed through his suit, overloading sensors and shorting out non-essential systems. Yet somehow, the life support remained stable. What are you?" he managed to ask, his voice shaking. "We are the last defense against the void," the voice answered. "We are the quantum blade, forged in the death of stars, and imbued with the consciousness of a civilization your kind has not yet imagined. And you, Marcus Chen, are now our wielder." Images flooded his mind. Vast ships of impossible geometry, tearing holes in space itself. Creatures of living darkness, consuming entire worlds. A network of ancient weapons scattered across the galaxy, waiting for the right beings to find them. And through it all, a sense of desperate urgency. "I don't understand," Marcus said, but that wasn't entirely true. Something deep within him resonated with the blade, as if it was awakening a part of him that had always been dormant. "The Void Harbingers approach," the voice continued. "They have sensed our awakening. Your species is young, but you have potential we did not foresee. The time of testing is upon us all." The chamber trembled, ice cracking around them. But it wasn't from the blade this time. Marcus's scanner, despite its damaged state, picked up multiple objects entering Europa's orbit, objects that matched no known configuration of human or automated vessels. "They're already here, aren't they?" he asked, though he knew the answer. The blade hummed in response, its energy synchronizing with his own nervous system. "Yes, but you are not defenseless. We will teach you. If you are willing to learn, to fight, to protect not just your own kind, but all life in this spiral arm." Marcus thought of his family's tiny apartment in the Europa colony, of his father working double shifts in the ice mines to keep them fed. He thought of his mother, lost to the void during a routine maintenance mission, her body never recovered. He thought of all the stories she used to tell him about humanity's destiny among the stars. "I'm just a kid," he said, but even as the words left his mouth, He felt the blade's power reshaping him, awakening neural pathways, and enhancing his natural abilities. "You are what we have," the voice replied, with what might have been amusement. "And we are what you need. The choice is yours, but it must be made now." Above them, the first of the Void Harbinger scouts would be entering the atmosphere. Marcus took a deep breath, feeling the weight of not just the sword, but of everything it represented. "Teach me," he said. The chamber exploded with light as the quantum blade fully activated, its power merging with Marcus's bioelectric field. His suit's systems came back online, enhanced by energies that defied conventional physics. Through the blade's consciousness, he could sense the enemy ships above, taste their intent like acid in the back of his throat. The first lesson, the blade communicated, is survival. The ceiling of the ice chamber began to crack as something massive descended toward them. Marcus raised the blade, its dark metal now gleaming with internal stars, and prepared to face whatever emerged from above. He was no longer just Marcus Chen, the curious teenager who broke into restricted areas. He was something new, something that even the ancient makers of the quantum blade hadn't quite planned for. He was humanity's first line of defense against the darkness between stars. As the ice began to rain down around them, Marcus smiled. His mother had always said humanity would find its place in the cosmos. She just hadn't known that it would start here, in the frozen depths of Europa, with her son holding a weapon that could reshape reality itself. The first Void Harbinger burst through the ceiling, a mass of twisted space and hungry shadow. Marcus raised the quantum blade, feeling its power flow through him, and took his first step toward becoming a legend. Trial by fire. The Void Harbinger's attack came like liquid shadow, its form twisting in ways that hurt Marcus's eyes to track. But the quantum blade moved before his conscious mind could react, its ancient intelligence guiding his arms in a perfect arc. Reality split where the blade cut, and the creature's attack dissipated into quantum foam. Acceptable, the blade's consciousness resonated in his mind. But they will adapt. They always do. 3 days had passed since Marcus's discovery in the ice caves, and the Void Harbingers hadn't given him a moment's rest. The Europa colony's defenses were useless against them. Their weapons passed right through the creature's phase-shifted forms. Only the quantum blade could affect them, its edge cutting through the dimensional barriers they used as armor. "Behind you," Dr. Sarah Wells shouted from her position near the colony's backup generator. The xenorchaeologist had found Marcus shortly after his first battle, having tracked the blade's energy signature for years. Now she was the only adult who knew the full truth of what was happening. Marcus spun, the blade's starlight edge leaving trails in the air as he bisected another harbinger. This one screamed as it died, a sound that existed somewhere between radio waves and nightmares. The generator hummed behind them, maintaining power to the colony's life support systems despite the Harbinger's attempts to disable it. "We can't keep this up forever," Marcus panted, his enhanced reflexes burning through energy faster than his body could replenish it. "There has to be a better way." Dr. Wells consulted her modified sensors, her dark features illuminated by the holographic display. "The blade's energy signature is changing. It's adapting to your biology. Whatever the makers designed it for, they clearly didn't expect a human wielder." "She is correct," the blade confirmed. "Your species processes quantum information differently than our original wielders. But this may be an advantage. The Harbingers cannot predict what they do not understand." Another attack came, this time from multiple directions. Marcus felt the blade's power surge through him, and suddenly he could see the quantum threads that connected all matter and energy. He moved through them like a dancer, each strike precise and devastating. The Harbingers retreated, leaving behind nothing but dissipating energy and the acrid smell of burnt space-time. "Amazing," Dr. Wells breathed, her sensors struggling to process what they'd recorded. "You're not just using the blade, Marcus. You're changing how it works. The quantum harmonics are completely different from the historical records I found." Marcus lowered the blade, feeling the familiar exhaustion creeping in. Historical records. You mean you've known about these things? Sarah nodded, her expression grave. There are references in ruins across the solar system. The Makers visited Earth thousands of years ago, left weapons like your blade hidden throughout our star system. But they were meant for their own kind, or so we thought. No human should have been able to activate one. Yet here we are, the blade commented. Perhaps this is why we failed before. We sought wielders too similar to ourselves. Before Marcus could respond, alarms blared throughout the colony. The main communications array lit up with emergency broadcasts. Multiple contacts detected entering the solar system. An automated voice announced, "Unknown configuration. Colonial Defense Force deploying to intercept." Dr. Wells's face went pale as she checked her instruments. "Those aren't scouts anymore, Marcus. That's a war fleet. The Harbingers are done testing us." Marcus felt it too, through his connection with the blade. Hundreds of void ships, each carrying thousands of Harbingers. Humanity's first real contact with alien life was about to become an extinction-level event. Unless, the blade offered, we show them something new. "What do you mean?" Marcus asked, though he could feel the answer forming in his mind. "Your species has an affinity for quantum mechanics that even you do not understand. The blade is changing, adapting to your natural abilities. But to unlock its full potential, to become what you must be, you will need to trust me completely." Dr. Wells grabbed Marcus's arm. "Whatever you're planning, be careful. The energy readings I'm getting, they're off the charts." Marcus looked at the quantum blade, its surface now swirling with patterns that matched his own brainwaves. He thought of his mother, lost to the darkness between stars. Of his father, working in the mines below, unaware that his son was now the only thing standing between humanity and annihilation. "What do I need to do?" he asked the blade. "Let go," it answered. "Stop trying to use me as a tool and accept that we are now one entity. The Makers designed us to be weapons, but with you, we can become something more." Marcus closed his eyes, feeling the artificial distinction between himself and the blade dissolving. Energy cascaded through his nervous system, rewriting his genetic code in real time. When he opened his eyes again, he saw the universe as it truly was, a vast quantum computer, every particle a bit of information waiting to be rewritten. Dr. Wells gasped. Marcus's body now glowed with the same starlight that filled the blade, quantum energy radiating from him in visible waves. "My God," she whispered, "you're becoming a human quantum computer." "We are becoming what we need to be," Marcus and the blade thought together. "And we are not alone." Through their enhanced perception, they sensed other quantum blades scattered throughout the solar system, beginning to resonate with the changes they had undergone. More importantly, they sensed the humans near those blades, people with the same hidden potential as Marcus. "We need to find them," Marcus said, his voice carrying harmonic overtones that hadn't existed before. "Before the Harbingers do." Dr. Wells was already pulling up stellar maps on her computer. "I can help with that. But the war fleet will be here in less than 12 hours. Marcus raised the blade, watching quantum energy dance along its edge. He was no longer afraid. The power flowing through him felt right, as if he'd finally found the missing piece of himself he'd never known was gone. "Then we have 12 hours to build an army," he said, "and show the Harbingers that humanity is more than they bargained for." The blade hummed in agreement, its consciousness now perfectly aligned with his own. Above them, the void ships approached, their very presence warping space-time. But for the first time since this began, Marcus felt hope. Because he wasn't just fighting for survival anymore. He was fighting for evolution. The gathering storm. The quantum blade cut through reality itself, opening a portal in the fabric of space-time. Marcus stepped through onto the surface of Mars, Dr. Wells following close behind in her environmental suit. The blade's power now extended well beyond its physical form, creating a protective quantum field that shielded them both from the harsh Martian environment. 2 kilometers north, Dr. Wells said, consulting her modified sensors. The resonance signature is almost identical to your blade's original frequency. They weren't alone in their search. 3 other young wielders had joined them in the past 8 hours, each discovered near their own quantum weapons. Kai Martinez, a 17-year-old maintenance worker from Titan Station, wielded quantum bow that fired arrows of concentrated possibility. Maya Patel, barely 16, had found a pair of quantum gauntlets in the mines of Mercury. And June Kim, 14, had emerged from the clouds of Venus with a quantum spear that could pierce the veil between dimensions. They approach, the blade warned in Marcus's mind. Through their shared consciousness, he sensed the Void Harbinger scouts tracking them. The enemy had realized what they were doing and was trying to stop them from gathering more wielders. Company coming, Marcus announced to the group. June, Kai, defensive formation. Maya, you're with me, and Dr. Wells. They moved with practiced coordination despite having met only hours ago. The quantum weapons had linked them on a fundamental level, sharing combat knowledge and tactical awareness through their quantum-enhanced minds. The first Harbinger materialized from a fold in space 50 meters ahead, its form a writhing mass of dark energy and canceled probability. 2 more appeared on their flanks, trying to encircle them. June's spear flashed, its tip leaving tears in reality that redirected the Harbinger's attack back upon themselves. Kai's quantum bow sang, each arrow splitting into 1,000 parallel possibilities that overwhelmed the enemy's dimensional defenses. Maya's gauntlets pulsed with power as she created quantum barriers, protecting Dr. Wells as the scientist worked to pinpoint the next blade's location. Marcus moved through the battle like water through air, the quantum blade an extension of his transformed consciousness. Each strike not only defeated the Harbingers but rewrote the local laws of physics, making it harder for more enemies to manifest in the affected space. There, Dr. Wells pointed toward a massive crater. The signals coming from inside that collapsed lava tube. More Harbingers appeared, dozens now, more than they'd ever faced at once. Time was running out. The main fleet would reach Earth in less than 4 hours. Maya, clear us a path. Marcus commanded. June, Kai, cover our flanks. Maya slammed her gauntlets together, creating a quantum shockwave that temporarily nullified all hostile probability curves in their path. The team rushed forward, their weapons harmonizing to maintain a defensive field around them. They found Zora Anderson in the heart of the lava tube, surrounded by the bodies of Harbinger scouts. The 13-year-old girl stood with a quantum shield braced against the alien onslaught, her small frame somehow containing enough power to hold back the void itself. "Took you long enough," she said with a grim smile, her shield pulsing with each impact. "I was starting to think I was the only one." Marcus reached out with his quantum-enhanced senses, feeling the familiar resonance between their weapons. "You're the last one," he confirmed. All 6 quantum weapons finally united. As the makers intended, the blade added, though their wielders are very different from what they expected. Dr. Wells's sensors chirped urgently. Multiple void rifts opening in orbit. The main fleet is arriving ahead of schedule. Through their shared quantum link, all 5 wielders felt the approaching darkness. Thousands of void ships, each carrying hundreds of Harbingers, began appearing around Mars. The space between planets rippled as reality struggled to contain their impossible geometries. "Can we fight them?" June asked, her spear humming with nervous energy. "Not directly," Marcus said, feeling the blade's knowledge flow through him. "But together, we might have another option." He raised the quantum blade, and the other weapons responded automatically, resonating at frequencies that humans had never known existed. Through their combined power, Marcus could see the quantum structure of space-time itself, and more importantly, how to rewrite it. The makers didn't just create these weapons to fight the Harbingers, he explained, understanding flowing into him through the blade. They created them to change the fundamental rules of reality in this part of the galaxy, to make it a place where the Harbingers couldn't exist. But they failed, Dr. Wells added, reading the data on her screens. The The weapons weren't compatible enough with their wielders to achieve the necessary synchronization, because they were looking for wielders like themselves. Maya said, the quantum gauntlets pulsing in time with her heartbeat, beings of pure logic and structured thought. Marcus nodded. But humans, we're different. We're chaos and order combined. We can see patterns in randomness and find randomness in patterns. Our brains are already quantum computers. We just never knew how to access that potential. Above them, the Void Fleet began its attack on Mars' automated defenses. They had minutes at most before the Harbingers would find them. What's the plan? Kai asked, an arrow of possibility already knocked in his quantum bow. Marcus looked at each of them. Children really, but chosen by weapons older than their entire civilization. In their eyes, he saw the same determination he felt, the same willingness to fight for not just humanity's survival but its evolution. We rewrite the rules, he said, not just of Mars, but of the entire solar system. We make reality itself reject the Harbinger's existence. But to do it, we'll have to push our weapons power further than even the Makers thought possible. Will it kill us? Zara asked, her quantum shield steady despite her fear. I don't know, Marcus answered honestly. But if we don't try, everyone dies anyway. One by one, they nodded. Through their quantum link, Marcus felt their resolve, their courage, their uniquely human ability to face impossible odds with determination rather than despair. Dr. Wells, he said, get to safety. What we're about to do, reality itself might object. Sarah Wells looked at the children she'd helped gather, her eyes bright with unused tears. It has been my honor, she said simply, then turned and ran for the relative safety of their quantum portal. Marcus raised the blade high, feeling the other weapons align with it. Energy began to flow between them, not just through their weapons but through their very beings. The quantum enhancements that had changed them since bonding with their weapons went into overdrive. As the first Harbingers began pouring into the lava tube, 5 young humans prepared to rewrite the laws of physics itself. The gathered storm of their power was about to break, and the universe would never be the same. Legacy of the Makers. Reality bent and twisted around them as 6 quantum weapons resonated in perfect harmony. Marcus felt his consciousness expand beyond normal space-time, merging with the other wielders in a quantum superposition of thought and purpose. Their combined power erupted from the Martian lava tube in a wave of fundamental change, rewriting the laws of physics at the most basic level. The approaching Harbingers screamed in frequencies that shouldn't exist as their very substance began to unravel. But something was wrong. The quantum wave wasn't expanding fast enough. The Void Fleet was too vast, too entrenched in normal space. We need more power, the blade communicated, not just to Marcus, but to all of them. There is one place where that power still exists. Through their shared quantum consciousness, Marcus saw it, a structure floating in the darkest reaches of the Kuiper Belt, hidden in a pocket of folded spacetime. The Makers' last citadel, waiting for worthy inheritors of their legacy. Can we reach it? June asked, her quantum spear straining against the fabric of reality. We have to, Marcus answered. Everyone, focus your weapons on me. The blade knows the way. Maya's gauntlets pulsed with energy. Kai's bow hummed at impossible frequencies. June's spear pierced the veil between dimensions. Zara's shield created a bubble of protected spacetime around them. As their power flowed into Marcus and the quantum blade, he felt reality itself bend to their combined will. Space twisted, folded, and remade itself around them. When it unfolded again, they stood in a vast chamber that defied conventional geometry. The walls seemed to extend into other dimensions, and equations that described the fundamental nature of the universe wrote themselves in light across every surface. The Maker's citadel, Dr. Wells breathed, her sensors struggling to process what they were recording. It's not just a building. It's a computer the size of a small moon, designed to calculate alternative laws of physics. Welcome, inheritors, a new voice resonated in their minds. A figure emerged from the impossible architecture, not solid, but a projection of pure quantum information given form. We have waited long for one such as you. The being's form shifted constantly, as if it couldn't decide which dimension to exist in. But its presence carried an unmistakable sense of age and power. "You're one of the makers," Marcus said. It wasn't a question. "The last," the figure confirmed. "I remain as guardian and guide, awaiting those who could complete what we could not." Through their quantum link, the young wielders shared images from Earth's orbital defenses. The Void Fleet was expanding, preparing to attack their homeworld. They had minutes at most. "We need your help," Marcus said. "The weapons are powerful, but not powerful enough to rewrite reality across the entire solar system." The quantum being studied them with senses that existed beyond normal perception. "You have already achieved what we thought impossible. Our weapons were meant for beings of pure logic, yet you wield them with both reason and emotion. Perhaps that is what we lacked." The Citadel's walls pulsed with new energy, and suddenly Marcus could see the truth through the blade's enhanced perception. The makers hadn't failed because their weapons were flawed. They had failed because they couldn't conceive of using power in an illogical way. They couldn't make the intuitive leaps that humans took for granted. The weapons weren't meant to rewrite reality through pure force, he realized. They were meant to imagine new possibilities into existence. "Yes," the blade confirmed. "The makers created us to calculate new laws of physics. But you humans, you can dream them." The other wielders felt it too. The true potential of their weapons unlocking as they finally understood their purpose. They weren't meant to be soldiers. They were meant to be creators. "The Void Fleet," Dr. Wells warned, checking her instruments. "They've detected the Citadel. They're coming." The quantum being's form flickered. "I can give you access to the Citadel's power, but what you do with it must come from you. The Harbingers cannot be defeated by logic alone. That is why we failed. They are chaos given form, and can only be overcome by a force that understands both order and entropy." Marcus looked at his fellow wielders, seeing in their eyes the same understanding that filled him. "Like the human mind," he said, "balanced between chaos and order, logic and intuition, between what is and what could be," Maya added, her gauntlets glowing with new purpose. The Citadel's walls began to crack as the first void ships arrived, their impossible geometries threatening to tear open protected space itself. The quantum being's form started to dissipate. "The choice is yours," it said. "You can try to fight them directly, using the Citadel's power as a weapon. Or you can do what we could not. Imagine an entirely new way of existence." The young wielders joined minds again, their quantum weapons resonating with the Citadel's vast energies. Through their shared consciousness, Marcus felt the full weight of the choice before them. They could destroy the Harbingers, yes, but that would only continue the cycle of violence that the makers had failed to break. Or they could do something else, something that even the Harbingers, in all their chaos, couldn't anticipate. They could dream up a new reality, where the fundamental division between order and chaos no longer existed. As the void ships began their attack on the Citadel, Marcus raised the quantum blade one last time. Around him, 5 other weapons lifted in perfect synchronization. Their wielders' minds merged not just with each other, but with the vast quantum computer that was the Citadel itself. "We choose to create," Marcus said, and felt the universe hold its breath. Dawn of the New Age. 6 quantum weapons blazed with power beyond imagination, drawing energy from both the Citadel's vast computers and their wielders' uniquely human ability to dream. Through their merged consciousness, Marcus felt the other's thoughts flow into his own. Maya's artistic vision, Kai's mathematical precision, June's wild intuition, Zora's structured creativity, and his own determination to find a third option where others saw only binary choices. The void ships hammered against the Citadel's defenses, reality groaning under their assault. But within the quantum sanctuary, something new was taking shape, not just in the weapons or the wielders, but in the fabric of existence itself. "We're not trying to destroy them," Marcus said, understanding flowing through him. "We're trying to transform them, to create a reality where they don't need to consume everything they touch." Yes, the blade resonated. The harbingers are what they are because the universe's current laws require them to be. But you can imagine different laws. Through their quantum link, Marcus shared his vision with the others. They saw it together. A universe where order and chaos weren't opposing forces but complementary aspects of the same whole. Where the harbingers' hunger for energy could be satisfied without destruction, their need for change fulfilled without erasure. The Citadel's quantum computers processed their combined imagination, turning human dreams into mathematical possibilities. The walls between dimensions began to blur as reality itself held its breath, waiting for their decision. "It's not just about the harbingers," Maya said through their link. "We're going to change everything. Everyone. Are we ready for that responsibility?" Dr. Wells's voice cut through their quantum communion. "Multiple breaches in the Citadel's outer layers. The Void Fleet is breaking through." Marcus felt the others' determination solidify. They were children, yes, but they had been chosen for this moment. Not because they were perfect, but because they could imagine perfection while accepting imperfection. Because they could dream of better worlds while living in the real one. "Together," he said, and felt 5 minds agree as one. The quantum blade rose higher, its surface now a window into all possible realities. The other weapons aligned with it, forming a circuit of pure potential. Through their enhanced perception, Marcus saw the void ships tear through the last of the Citadel's conventional defenses, saw the harbingers pour through in their thousands, their hunger reaching out to devour everything. But he also saw something else, the quantum pattern that underlaid all existence, the mathematical music that defined what was possible and what wasn't, and with 5 other dreamers beside him, with the power of the Maker's greatest creation flowing through them, he began to change that pattern. Reality shuddered. The quantum blade burned so bright it could be seen from Earth, a new star born from human imagination and alien technology. The other weapons added their power, each contributing something unique. Maya's gauntlets wove possibility. Kai's bow shot change through the quantum foam. Chum's spear pierced the walls between what was and what could be, and Zara's shield protected the pattern as it shifted. The harbingers screamed as the new laws began to take effect. Their forms twisted, not in destruction but in transformation. The hunger that drove them began to change, becoming something else, a desire to create rather than consume, to transform rather than destroy. Through the Citadel's sensors, they watched as the change rippled outward at quantum speeds, rewriting the laws of physics across the entire solar system. Human technology flickered, adjusted and evolved to match the new reality. The void ships, rather than being destroyed, transformed into shimmering structures that bridged the gap between order and chaos. "It's working," Dr. Wells whispered, her sensors showing her things that her mind could barely comprehend. "You're not just changing the laws of physics, you're creating new ones that never existed before." The process couldn't be stopped now. The quantum wave expanded faster and faster, carrying humanity's dreams on wings of mathematics. The harbingers, caught in the wave of change, became something new. Not destroyers or consumers, but transformers and creators in their own right. When it was done, when the new reality had settled into place, Marcus lowered the quantum blade. Through their shared consciousness, he felt the others do the same, their weapons now humming with a different kind of power. The being that approached them was both harbinger and not, its form a beautiful synthesis of void and light. "What have you done?" it asked, but there was wonder in its voice rather than anger. "We dreamed a better way," Marcus answered simply, and had the power to make that dream real. Around them, the Citadel was changing, its impossible geometry becoming something that could exist in the new reality they had created. Through the quantum weapons, they could sense similar transformations happening throughout the solar system. Humanity would face many challenges adapting to the new laws they had helped create, but they would face them with new allies and new possibilities. Dr. Wells's sensors had finally stabilized. "The quantum field is stable," she reported. "The new laws are holding. You did it. You really did it." Marcus looked at his fellow wielders, seeing in their eyes the same mix of exhaustion and exhilaration that he felt. They were no longer just children who had found alien weapons. They were the architects of a new age, the bridge between what was and what could be. The makers sought to eliminate chaos. The blade communicated. You chose to embrace it, to make it part of a greater harmony. Perhaps that is why you succeeded where they failed. The transformed Harbinger gestured toward the Citadel's main viewport, where Earth glowed with new energy patterns visible even at this distance. "Your species will need guides to understand this new reality. Teachers to show them the possibilities you have unleashed." "Then that's what we'll be," Marcus said, feeling the others' agreement through their link. "Not warriors or rulers, but teachers and dreamers." As they prepared to return home, to help humanity navigate the dawn of this new age, Marcus thought of his mother. She had always said that humanity's greatest power was its ability to imagine better worlds. Now they had proved her right, in a way that even she could never have dreamed. The quantum blade hummed contentedly in his grip, no longer just a weapon, but a key to unlocking human potential. Above them, transformed void ships danced in patterns of impossible beauty. Before them stretched an infinity of new possibilities, waiting to be explored. They had done more than save humanity. They had given it wings to fly beyond anyone's expectations, even the makers themselves. And this was just the beginning.